Hey guys, so I'm back with my commentary. It took me a little while again because, like I said, I always have to do my research. If y'all are just tuning in, this is news for your ass. And the golden rule over here on this channel is we live by the Players Club rule. We never trust anybody's information but our own. So y'all always feel free to check behind me after I go ahead and, give y'all my commentary on the research that I've done. So right now we're just gonna go ahead and dig right on in. This is the continuation to the transcripts. If you watch my first video, I did part of the my commentary on the transcripts that I had read so far, but this is the continuation to that. So we're just gonna jump right on in. Now, y'all, when I tell y'all, I said this from the very beginning that and I know most of y'all already know that this was a setup, but I just want to give y'all the details to why I'm sticking with that story. And I always try to bring proof over here on this channel, so it takes me a while to do my video. So y'all make sure y'all tell y'all friends to like, subscribe to my channel so I could keep doing this because it's tedious when you have to edit these videos. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right on into the situation. So the first thing that I wanted to point out and if you guys watched my last video, I had made mention of this and I didn't know why it was significant at the time when the driver, the getaway driver, aka Baylet Stars, when she commented and told us what Eric Holder was eating. Now I was like, well, why did they put that in the transcripts? Why did they find that to be significant? Well, I went back and I had watched Cowboy's interview, and you remember he kept saying, yeah, he went in there and ordered a old burger and shit. He had a burger, but the nigga didn't even have a burger. He had chili cheese fries. So what was your point in even telling that lie or just saying that when that wasn't even the truth? Another thing that I wanted to do, because I'm just going to go ahead and lay out all of the bombs and we'll go into the details later. Kerry Lathan was also offered immunity, y'all, which means for his testimony, he could never be charged with a crime either. And I'm like, well, if he's a victim in this case, why would you be offering him immunity? Because, like I said, this was all set up from jump. They had been trying to assassinate Nipsey Hussle. They just never could get him by himself, or they never could catch him at the right time. And this was the perfect time. This was the one and only time that they were going to have to catch him by themselves. So they had to act quick. And when I feel, what I feel like is really significant in this case is when Tanisha Foster, aka China Hustle, the baby mama who's just all over the fucking place, when she made mention that she spoke to Nip 30 minutes before he died, and a lot of people was like, "Oh yeah, well she could have set him up." I'm like, "Well, let's take it a step further." So the initial report stated that Nipsey had got a call from somebody saying that a friend had just gotten out of jail and he was supposed to be meeting him at the store because he was going to give him some clothes. Well, we know that that's not true because Kerry Lathan had already been out of jail for 7 months, so he didn't just get home. So what I think is when Tanisha called Nipsey, she was trying to see where he was at and feel out what he had going on. And in case y'all don't know, Tanisha's mother is Big U's sister. And I went on her Instagram just a minute ago before I even tried to upload this video to find the picture because she had one picture of her and her mom. It was the only one on her Instagram, but apparently she got smart, or I don't think she got smart. I think somebody that was smart around her told her to go ahead and change up her little Instagram. So all the pictures of the lean and the different guys and all of that stuff is gone, and even a picture of her mom, because I was going to show y'all her mother is basically the twin of Big U, but her mother and Big U are brother and sister. So y'all already know how this situation goes. This was a setup. And if you go back to when Nipsey Hussle and Big U got into the fight, the reason that they had the fight was because Nipsey had just went over there and beat Tanisha's ass. And I tried to find the text messages because she had posted messages online right after that had happened and saying that that Nipsey Hussle was calling their daughter all kind of names and stuff and what kind of father would beat up his baby mom, and she was basically saying that he was calling his daughter a hoe and all of that. But I don't believe that shit. I do believe he went over there and beat her ass because I mean from the looks of things she just don't seem to be all the way together. But I ain't here to judge her. I'm just here to lay down the facts of what I found out. So again, like I said, I tried to find a picture of her mom, but she took it off of there. So when they got into that fight and Nipsey Hussle beat Tanisha up, or they got into a fight, whatever, Big U and Nip ended up having that fight in the parking lot behind that situation. That was the reason they got into the altercation. And I also went back and I looked on Big U's page, his record label page, Unique Music, and he had put out a statement that, yeah, I beat up Nipsey Hussle and his dad and his brother, and they basically called the police, and through that's when Black Sam shot the shots in the air and then the cops tried to shoot at him. That's how that whole situation came about. And he also stated that he wasn't Nip's manager no more, and he basically was starting his own record label. So I'm gonna tell y'all, and this is just my observation from the whole situation, I really feel like Big U wanted to be Suge Knight, because if y'all go back to the interview that he did on Vlad TV, he was like, yeah, if I would have been out of jail, Big U, during the time when Suge had Death Row and it was popping, he said it basically wouldn't have been like it was or whatever, meaning that he would have had a hand in that. So I feel like Big U was trying to be like Suge Knight, and he thought that Nip was going to be his Tupac. But what he didn't realize was Nip was not just the young little gangbanger that was dumb and you could just come and manipulate him. He was very smart and he was on his shit. And once Big U saw that he couldn't manipulate him and that he couldn't just be the middleman and have his hand in everything, Nip said, fuck him. And after they got into that fight behind Tanisha's sorry ass, Nip went on and started doing his own thing. He messed around and he got with Lauren London, and then he started blowing up. All type of business deals that he was doing. Y'all already know the Vector 90, the office space, the hotel, the Viceroy in Santa Monica that they were about to buy. It was a 162 room hotel, and DJ Khaled was actually supposed to be one of his business partners in that deal. And I'm gonna make another video about that because I find that to be a little bit suspect now that I know that Callie's hands was not only in the video shoot thing, but he had something to do with Nip trying to buy that hotel. So it's a lot of things, that play a factor into this whole situation. That's why it's so many layers to this, and we got to continue to stay on it. And shout out to all of the YouTubers that's, staying on this, especially Hood Talk. Peaches and Hood, when I tell you, if y'all don't know their channel, it's called Hood Talk News. They are on it. They've been on this Nipsey Hussle case since day one, and they ain't letting up. So y'all go follow them, check their channel out if y'all not already subscribed to them as well. But anyway, I feel like Big U wanted to be Suge. And he thought that he was just going to get out of jail and Nip was going to be his little, meal ticket. And when things didn't work out that way, and the fact that Nip, you know what I'm saying, wasn't dealing with his little ratchet ass niece no more. He done went and got him a little Lauren London, and now they making, Hollywood power moves. I feel like Big U felt like he was about to be X'd out because we all know that Big U works with the LAPD, and that's why I feel like when Nip's office had got, his store had got raided, that has something to do with Big U as well because he works with the LAPD. And when they raided Nip's office, that was a way for them to infiltrate and get into his operation. They wanted to see how his organization ran. But he was too smart for that. It wasn't really nothing they could do. However, when I want to go back to the witness statement, because another thing that Miss Baylette Starr said too was that she finally did admit to her and Eric Holder being in a romantic relationship, and she also stated that she went and got him a room at the Motel 6 to hide him out because the first night after the shooting happened, he asked if he could stay with her at her mom's house. And so she let him, but I guess the next day she had to go to work. So she was like, I'm not leaving you at my mom's house. He asked if he could stay at her house because I guess she had her own apartment, and she was like, nah. So that's when she went and got him a room at the Motel 6, and that's where he was. But this chick also went on to say that when they pulled up to the Marathon store, she said that she wasn't going to let him do no drive-by in her car. So why would you make that statement if you had no earthly idea that he was going to do anything crazy? So her story is just a bunch of bullshit, and I just can't even believe that the police offer her immunity for this bullshit ass testimony that she gave. But they also offered Kerry Lathan, like I said, immunity as well. And Cowboy just all his lies, I just feel bad for him because he doesn't really have too many legs to stand on. I mean, he was the do boy basically. He wasn't no damn business partner. He was a fucking do boy. Like he said, he was a player on the team. That's it. He didn't have no real position. So he basically just had to go with the flow. So when everybody was shocked, like, oh, Cowboy Part 2 interview, he said that the cameras didn't work in the store. Sweetheart, let me tell you something. Nip wasn't no idiot. If you believe for 1 second that that man had a store, if he could, you could take your phone and swipe your phone over his merchandise and watch a video. If you think for 1 second that them cameras in his store didn't work, then you're the fool. Because what he did was also in Cowboy's statement, he said, well, the cameras didn't work, they wasn't recording, they wasn't them type of cameras, you could just check in, it was basically like for employees. So if you wanted to check in if you was at home, no, Nip had that shit set up so y'all in the store couldn't have access to actually controlling the footage. He actually had all that shit set up from his phone. That's why when Black Sam did the one and only interview that he did with the LA Times, when he said after watching the footage he didn't feel like he knew who to trust, and then we didn't hear no more about it because they do have other footage. And I'm gonna also show y'all the statement from the actual judge in this case. He, when he released the transcripts, he made a statement, and he clearly said that he wanted them to keep a lid on the video evidence, meaning they have more than one videotape. We've only just been shown the one videotape. So don't get in such an uproar because I'm hearing a lot of people like, oh my God, they don't have no footage. And if that's what they're using to convict him, no, that's just what they showed us. They have more footage. But I wouldn't expect them to put that out there because the more and more that they keep putting stuff out there, the case can is easily able to be tainted. And I don't think that that's what they're going for. Although I feel like they're gonna have a hard time convicting Eric Holder just based on a lot of these witnesses that they have, because all of them were in on this setup. Everybody that was out there was in on the setup, and I feel like Nip, after a few minutes of being out there, because if you go back to a lot of the witnesses or the statements that we got, they were saying that he was ready to go, he was trying to leave, but they kept bringing people up to him, kept trying to talk to him. And I feel like once he's seen, you know what I'm saying, Kerry Lathan, because he's a OG, you know what I'm saying. Once he's seen Kerry Lathan and he's seen that boy walk up on him, because I don't believe that they had no conversation about snitching. I just don't believe that. Because when you see Nip, the way that dude walked up on him, it was an element of surprise. He didn't move, he didn't turn around. If they would have had just one conversation, like they said they did about snitching or whatever, when that man would have walked back up, Eric Holder, Nipsey would have at least moved his body to position himself differently. That's just human nature. If I just had a conversation with somebody, whether it was pleasant or unpleasant, and you come walking up on me, I'm going to turn and look some type of way. But there was no threat there because he was caught off guard. And so when they kept saying Nip was like, yeah, you got me, no, he said y'all got me, because he realized it was a setup when they had him down there on that ground. And I believe that Kerry Lathan, hell, if he didn't shoot him, he tried to block Nip in so that he wasn't able to get up. They blocked him in, they set him up, and he knew it. He started feeling it. I'm telling you, that's how I feel. And I could be wrong, but I feel like Nip realized once he was out there, like, damn, I'm out here, I'm naked, and he was ready to go, but it was too late. It was too late. They had him boxed in, and they knew that was their only opportunity to get him. And that's what they did. But I also want to point out something else to y'all because I did a little bit of research on Big U because I'm definitely not a fan of his, and I just feel like he's grimy, he's shady, he's a wannabe Suge Knight, something he'll never be. Because one thing about Suge was a businessman. He knew how to handle business, and I don't get that from Big U at all. I get you just got a little bit of clout because you a old ass big homie, and so you got respect from that. But as far as you trying to be a Suge Knight, you'll never be that, and you'll never have a death row. But anyway, I did some research and I found out that Big U's record office, that unique music that he started all of a sudden, is 4 minutes away from Nip's store. So if you go back to Baylet Starr's witness statement, she also stated that Eric Holder had her driving. He wanted her to just keep riding her around back and forth around the block and stuff. And I'm like, well, damn, was he having her drive him by Big U's music his little record label building, because it's 4 minutes away from where Nipsey Hussle's store is, and I find that to be kind of odd too. So his record label, where he conducts business, is 4 minutes away from Nip's store. So you go figure, and y'all tell me how y'all feel about that. Like, it's a setup, but I'm gonna keep on doing my research, keep digging, and y'all keep writing with me, and y'all leave y'all comments and let me know what y'all think below, and I'll be back with another video shortly. This is news for your ass.